Hey, how you doing? This is Tony Spumoni here. Obviously, you know me from the plenty of advertisements you've heard of Club Sandwich. How you doing? I also would like to welcome you to a very, very special podcast. I'm friends with these guys, the Ivy League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Pretty stupid guys, but they're good guys. So give them a listen here. All right, Tony Spumoni out. Welcome to the Ivy League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I believe extraordinary gentlemen, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You're listening to what we say. We said we had to say. The Ivy League Extraordinary Gentlemen, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You're listening to what we say. We said we had to say.
Yeah, he's here for like 2 months. This is the last week that he's here. And so I came up and we skied some delicious pad today.
Yeah.
Are we live right now?
Yeah, we're always live.
Oh wow.
We're never not live.
So
And
there's
what's
no,
sick is we have all the people here. So the tracks have been all screwy the last few times, and it's because people join like after we're recording. And this platform, while it's a legitimate podcasting platform, it's not capable of aligning the tracks up on its own. So whenever I like download it and then start it, it's just like everybody's fucking talking all at once. It's terrible.
how does this, and we won't name the platform so as not to upset any future business partners, but how does this scale on the how does it rate on the scale of cheap and good?
Well, I was paying for it, and now I'm on the free version, so it advertises itself. So
Kyle, your gain is outrageous right now. It's like it's yelling through the speakers.
we'll turn it down a little.
There you go.
Kyle, as the host, are you not going to introduce the guest on the pod this week, or?
Nah, fuck that. No, I'm just kidding. Jeffrey, welcome to episode 3.
Thanks. Glad to be here. Excited to have this platform. You know, honored to be invited on, and I hope I do it justice. There's always some pressure following Cobb, and you've got Gideon with his drop-ins, and I don't know who's doing the ad reads, if that's Gideon or if it's Tony Spumoni or who it is, but just a lot of talent in this crew.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Push Pop Technologies.
You got big shoes to fill. Push Pop Technologies still hasn't paid us, by the way. They still owe us money.
Should we send a Venmo request?
Yeah.
They might be defaulting to bankruptcy at this point.
Yeah, they might be. Skylar, how's it going, buddy? You're quiet today.
Well, first off, you're so freaking loud. It's unbelievable. You're still loud. Your gain is outrageous. Like Elise is in 2 rooms over, and she's like, "Can you tell Kyle to turn it down?" Because everyone else is like normal voice, and you're just like a big, dirty, hairy man.
Okay. Well, it's turned down almost all the way. So
there we go.
I don't know what else to do about it.
That's normal. I don't enjoy everything I'm seeing over here with you and your little thingies, overalls. I like you're in the van. But really, for our fans out there and our listeners, our host was extremely late tonight. So just want to call that out. Call it as I see it, See it
3 minutes. 3 minutes late.
If you're not early, you're late.
It's true.
Let's just get that out there.
And I pushed us back. So, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. We each get a gimme. I adhere to your guys' schedule. So here we are. I'm the flexible one. Thank you for being flexible.
One mulligan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. After that, you have to pay. You have to pay $20 to the pod. All right. Well, how about this? We got some huge news coming out of Oakland this weekend, or fuck me, Vegas.
This guy is so off right now.
I don't even know.
You're so off.
I've been outside in the freezing cold all day. I'm still wet.
Do you need like
Yes.
some soup or some hot tea or something?
Be
Do you
sick.
need to take a pause and go make it like an espresso?
I might text Jurgen and tell him to deliver me a beer to the van.
That's
That'd be
smart.
kinda sick.
Is it dark outside or do you have like the tints on?
It's pretty dark. It's not all the way dark, but it's pretty dark.
Are you at home or is Jurgen like outside? Is he not allowed in the van? Like what's going
Well,
on?
I'm in Revelstoke,
Yeah.
but
Alright.
I'm outside his house. Yeah.
Our biggest question though, are you gonna shit in the woods tonight?
No.
Very fair question. Very.
I don't know what the future holds.
I mean, where
Like,
are you? Where are you shitting?
Yeah, where are you shitting?
There's a toilet. They have toilets in Canada.
Well, where are you parked?
I just said I'm outside Jurgen's house.
Are you allowed to go in his house?
Yes.
I wouldn't let you in there.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna
that's
text
you.
him right now.
Lock your doors.
You're an outdoor guest for sure.
Yeah, does he have an outdoor shower?
All right. Any other questions relating to van life here? I thought you wanted this, Sky.
Wanted what?
You wanted me in the van. Here we are.
Yeah, I haven't not wanted you. I'm just asking where you're gonna shit tonight.
Yeah,
I'm gonna shit in the toilet. There's-
I
was
actually
very-
thought you were like in the woods.
No, well, there's trees.
Okay, well, see, it sounds like I'm a crazy person, but realistically, I'm just talking sense.
I might take a shit in the fucking right out in his driveway. I don't know. I'll shit wherever I want. That's what I do. I'm a man. It's a free country, and I'm a man.
You're a man.
Yeah, I'm a guy's guy.
I can kick it off though before we get into Jeff's stuff. And they know we keep this at a minimum. I have a little hockey talk.
Oh
Yes.
fuck!
A little
All right,
hockey talk.
timer started. 1 minute.
Yes.
A little
Kyle-
hockey talk.
1 minute.
Kyle, you're gonna take off.
I
You
went
guys-
as a good friend that I am. I went to Schwer's high school boys varsity game last night. The stands were packed. It was an electric game. I did caveat leave after the second period. They were down 2-0.
What a great fan. What a great friend.
Context, I have a pregnant wife. She wanted to go home. Also, what high school hockey games start at 7:45? Honestly, the puck dropped at 8:05. Seems a bit late for a school night. No?
We've had 8:40 games this year.
This seems a bit late.
Yeah,
Just
a little
gonna
late.
call that out. Like, those kids are tired tomorrow,
Oh,
today.
for sure.
Like, they're not doing well in school.
So keep going.
Okay, so I leave, and then we go to bed. I get texts in the morning, see the free press. Big OT loss, so they came back 2-2, and then Schwer's team still lost, 3-2.
Yeah, but safe to say, you're bad luck. As soon as you leave, the boys start bumping. We grind back to get two unanswered, tie the game, head to overtime. Absolutely electric atmosphere. You saw it there.
Yep.
The other team had their little wolf mascot.
The wolf was cool.
I
The
saw
wolf
that
was cool.
snap. That was pretty funny. I was giggling at that. Just
Dude,
like
the
some
wolf-
like fat, it's like some fat 14-year-old like walking around in a wolf mask.
Dude, no, not even that too. The wolf in between periods when Shore was in the locker room was skating around with the flag.
Wow. I was going to say, I didn't see it have skates on. Usually,
Oh, he had skates. He was skating around. And honestly, a bad
why we
omen though,
lost. That's
he
why we
lost the flag. He lost the flag during one of the in between periods.
Wow.
He just lost it.
Like he was
Right.
waving it, just like flung off.
That's
But no,
awesome.
it was a cool atmosphere. A couple macro viewpoints from my opinion. Your team was very small in stature. That was number one. They had some big old beefy boys. Fans were pretty similar. I'll give both of them. They're both good. Seems a bit heavy, $4 per person for a high school hockey game. I'm just gonna call it as I see it. I'm always down to donate to the local high schools and charities, but $4 a pop, that seems a bit aggressive. I'm just gonna call it out.
I mean, are you not entertained?
I like the music.
You left for like the sickest comeback, and it was absolutely electric.
The music was really good in between the periods.
Yep. Chuck
the
a puck.
Zamboni.
Did you stay for Chuck a puck?
Huck-a-Puck was the highlight of the night. Huck-a-Puck.
It's
You ever watch
Chuck a
Huck-a-Puck?
puck.
Jeff or Kyle? Thing is electric.
Chuck-a-puck?
Chuck-a-Puck, yeah. I said
All right,
Huck-a-Puck.
explain. Go on. No, I don't know what it is.
Wow. he doesn't know
So
what this
in
is.
between period 2 and 3, as we're about to leave, but also it adds a bit of time in between periods. Everyone who, I don't know how much it is, it's probably like $1 or $2. You buy $1 or $2 and you have a number on your puck. And then everyone goes over to the benches and they're like standing on the benches. They're just hucking pucks and trying to get to the closest to the center.
That's pretty
of the ring. And there's also like a couple hundred pucks. Like it's not a little bit. Like people like get like 10 and they're just like hucking them like nonstop. Like, and this one person had a puck in the middle and somebody just slid it and hammered it away. Both lost, but then somebody else won. It was amazing.
All right, we're 3.5 minutes into hockey
that's
talk.
hockey talk.
That's hockey talk.
I actually have a lot of hockey talk too. Oddly.
That's hockey talk.
So I'm in Canada, Schwer, the capital of hockey, right? So apparently Revelstoke has like a youth team, and it's like 16 to, I think, 20-year-olds or something, and they play like a bunch of teams around the area. But Revelstoke is the only club that has a like parents side of the rink and then like a drinking side. And it's like $1 a beer, and there's like during the winter here there's like, you know, there's only a few thousand people that live here during like year round, but during the winter it's, you know, there's like 16,000 people, and most of them are like Australians and Brits because they come into work at the resort, and apparently they just get wasted drunk and just chirp at the kids for the whole game. And apparently they like huddle around the penalty box, and whenever there's a penalty, they just go over and they fucking scream at the kids. Like just like 16-year-old kids getting chirped by like drunk Australians.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing that Vermont lacks. We don't have any sort of liquor license or beer license in rinks, and it would be a huge revenue for the state. I mean,
So,
and then my second, but I'm not going to it. It's tomorrow night, so I can't go. But I'm kind of bummed about that. But second hockey talk. So one of our fans, actually, we have another fan. His name is Jack Standardand, and Jack Standardand. He was texting me, and he said, "I'll just read you the text." He said, "Going back to the Tua take with hockey twist on it, because I know you love these." He said, "Sidney Crosby was out for over a year with multiple concussions and post-concussion syndrome. That was back in 2010. Decade later, still an all-star. Just saying."
Sidney Crosby was a perennial youth talent going through the ranks, as well as considered one of the greatest younger players. Tua is pretty mid-average, in my opinion. Well, this is, again, my opinion. Sidney Crosby was top echelon. Tua is just a mid quarterback.
I don't know if he's comparing talents. I think he's comparing the concussion aspect of it. Like, early in his career, people were probably saying his brains are noodled. Like, he's not going to play hockey. Probably shouldn't play hockey. But here we are.
I agree with that take. Good for
better
Jack.
or for worse, I'm a bit of a
Zanzaran.
concussion. For better or for worse, I'm a bit of a concussion expert here, and I will say to counter that argument, hockey, you can avoid head contact. You can.
Oh yeah, watched a lot of that last night from the CBU boys. A lot of avoided contact.
They were avoiding contact, sure.
Little slips, like where like they stick their little stick out.
Yeah, well, so you can avoid it. Football, every single snap, you're getting your bell rung.
There you go, Jack Standard. There you go.
I watched it live last night. It's like that the CVU coaches need to teach them how to get into hit.
Our hockey guy is saying it's a bad analogy, or whatever you want to call it, metaphor. I don't know.
I actually think it's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Now that I think about it, the quarterback can kind of protect himself a little bit, like practice and stuff. They're not hitting his head, so
the league is also designed.
If it was Joe Burrow instead of Tua, I'd say that's a really good comparison. Meaning, like, talent-wise, if we're like talking Joe Burrow had the same concussions as Tua this year, I'd be like, all right, that's a perfect comparison. I just don't think Tua's very good.
You quiet little mouse. What do you got to say?
I don't really have any feel like concussions are bad, and we don't want to hit our head. And I think we should do our best not to hit our head. But also, if you want to make however many millions of dollars to play NFL football and you want to take that risk, go for it. Risk reward. He's an adult; he'll decide, and we'll see how he turns out.
My thing is,
Tua's out of the league in 2 years.
You think he's out of the league in 2 years?
2 years.
my thing is, it's not really like I don't really care what Tua's decisions are. Like, I know he wants to play football, and I know he's going to come back and he's going to play football. My thing is, like, if I'm the Miami Dolphins, you have a good team.
Yeah,
like, you have a playoff team, and you are putting it all on, and you need a good quarterback to make a run in the playoffs, and you're putting it all on the line with a guy who is prone to fucking you over. So, like, you got to get somebody in there that Derek Carr, the god, who's just gonna give you better chance.
Derek Carr is not going to go anywhere and be the backup.
The Carr father. I would say, previewing later in the segment, Geno Smith, Dolphins. Like, why not?
I mean, wait, what's going on? Why wouldn't you just stay in Seattle?
Because Miami's better.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Seattle, you've got Pete Carroll. Like, they were pretty good this year. Everybody thought they were going to be terrible.
You got to go through the four. You got to go. I just think what I've been reading and what I've been seeing is that they're going to either draft a quarterback or they might move off of Geno.
Yeah, and there's some good quarterbacks, which I have as a talking point for us boys.
Good. We are a fantasy football podcast, not a hockey podcast.
This is the Derek Carr podcast, guy.
It is
so
the Derek Carr
give us the fucking news. Come on, someone.
Right.
I
got the news. Derek Carr, because of his no trade clause, was officially released. He is a free agent.
Yeah, boy.
He will have all the power to go wherever he wants. And I'm gonna compile on that too. So I was reading today that because, and this was just me reading, because DeAndre Hopkins last year got suspended for 6 games because of PEDs, he had a no trade clause in his contract. It got waived. So he does not have the luxury of Derek Carr has. So take it for a Patriots or a Rams team. They will now have to trade for him, and he will likely get traded before the NFL draft.
Well, D-Hop.
Back to Derek Carr.
Yeah, D-Hop's not going to go to the Patriots because of Bill O'Brien, but yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we'll get into the Bill O'Brien stuff later as well. He's a talking point I have.
Jeff, where is Derek Carr going to play football? Quickly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where he's going to play football. I'm deep in. So here's the honest.
I don't know. It's not a choice. You've been listening to the cast, right?
Yeah, you know where we all think he's going to go.
I think he ends up. Does he replace? Do they move off Rodgers and he ends up in Green Bay?
Wow,
that's what Cobb said.
Yeah, I think that's blasphemy.
Yeah,
I don't want my boy to go north.
Yeah,
dude, what is it like? Just the Jordan Love thing? Like, that would be comedy if that happened. I'd be like, this poor guy.
Do they like Jordan Love? I mean, like, wouldn't they? I mean, do they think they have something there? Has anyone seen him play football? I don't.
They gave him a chance this year. I think didn't he start once or twice because Aaron Rodgers had like a thumb or something?
Yeah, thumb.
Yeah. I'm not.
I mean, no.
To Gideon's point, everyone has thumbs.
Yeah, that's right. Well, everybody's got ankles. That was a good line. I chuckled at that. Well, all right. We'll see. I guess we got two guests for the Packers. That's kind of crazy.
That's gross.
Can we talk about how the pods just our picks are just unreal though?
I mean, we're undefeated.
This is
actually this is a point. This is a talking point because we're not going to do pod against guests because my other two colleagues over here thought I was too competitive. That's how we bred our fantasy football league. That's why we have the Ivy League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because of competitiveness. But we're not going to have that this week. Jeff. You don't get to go against us. You don't get to try your luck against an undefeated squad over here. That's on me. That's on the host.
Whoa. I never, ever would call anyone too competitive. There's no such thing.
Oh, Skyler, No, yeah, not too competitive. I said he's very competitive.
It's fine to be competitive. That wasn't my point. But anyway, we're not going to get into it.
But let's just do it then, because I got one. I mean, we're talking just obscure stuff here. We might
Our
as well
guest
hammer
is
a bet.
bored as shit. He's like texting.
No, I'm pulling up.
He's on Instagram.
All right.
He's looking at reels.
All right, Jeff, here it is, okay? This is the competition
Googling
this week.
boobs.
We have Sunday, February 19th, 2:30 p.m. I'm sure you already know what's going on then. We have the Daytona 500 is going down, and let me just tell you kind of the front runners to win that. Danny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blandley, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano.
He has a phone. He can just look it up. He's already on Instagram.
Yeah, he probably already
He already knows
to figure this out. But I'm sure you're big into NASCAR. Do you have a guy that you think is going to win Daytona 500 this Sunday?
Yeah, huge stock car racing fan. Always have been. Most of my knowledge is from the late '90s, early 2000s. So I don't know if Jeff Gordon is still around and he's still running around the track.
You're taking Jeff Gordon.
I do feel good about Jeffy G's chances at the Daytona 500. He might be about 63 years old now, but I think they'll throw him in a car and he'll be top 10 at least. That's probably my guess. But no, I don't know. You could have a parade of NASCAR drivers walk by me. I couldn't tell you who any of them were.
Hey, Schwer, good job.
I thought that was pretty good. I gave him all the drivers.
Dude, yeah.
You just want to pick one? I'm going to go with Logano because I've heard of him before.
Jeff, if you say I don't know one more time, I'm going to fucking jump through this screen.
We are a golf football podcast, and you decide to go left field and go NASCAR driving. This isn't a Sam Tarling podcast. This is a golf football friends podcast. How about this? What is Tiger going to shoot tomorrow?
Isn't he playing with some? He playing with some stuff?
Yeah. I watched his run today at Riviera in LA. He has a golf match tomorrow, 18 holes. What is he going to shoot tomorrow?
I think he shoots at 74.
There we go. See, that's an easy one, Schwer. That makes sense. That's on brand. That's tomorrow. Get rid of this NASCAR bullshit.
I was going to tune into the Daytona 500.
No.
We got the NBA All-Star game coming up. Who's the NBA All-Star game MVP? Who knows?
We're not in basketball.
Who is it? Who's it going to be, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jason Tatum. Going to be the
wow. There you go.
Celtics guy going Celtics,
and he's going to win the MVP for the season. He's the best player in the league. Top 5. Right, he's not 5, 4, 3, or 2.
All right. Any more? On the Derek Carr train. I had like a little sub bullet point to that, and with the Raiders now officially looking, what do you guys think? What do you think is going to happen? First question is, what do you think is going to happen to Aaron Rodgers? Is it feasible that he goes to the Raiders? Or the Raiders? What's interesting is the Raiders have the 7th pick.
They do.
They already got their guy, Jarrett Stidham. They got their guy.
He was kind of a stud at the end there, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he put up a huge week for me, week 17.
But there's boys. This is interesting from a fantasy perspective because there are some hot quarterbacks, like good-looking quarterbacks coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud. This guy's a fucking stud, dude.
Yeah.
He threw 41 touchdowns at Ohio State last year.
Mm-hmm.
3,600 yards passing.
So I think all 3 of those guys, Will Levis, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, they're all going to go within the top 5 picks. So the Raiders would have to move up in my analysis. I think the Raiders will get Aaron Rodgers. I do.
Is Stetson Bennett too old for the draft, or is he eligible?
Stetson Bennett, I don't think is even on like anybody's board to like get drafted.
He's like a 5th rounder.
That's crazy.
He's like a 4th or 5th rounder.
Talk about like the guy won 2 national championships and he's just thrown to the
but he's like 35 years old.
He's older than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, another one that I saw today was the over/under on how tall and how much Bryce Young is going to weigh at the draft, because there's some stuff that he's like under 5'10" and under 188, which is crazy. For context, there's only been like one quarterback ever drafted in the first round that's been under 190 pounds. He's just a little man.
Wow.
All right, guys, I like it. Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders is kind of sick. He's linked back up with Devontae. Are you kidding me, dude?
That would
Makes so much sense.
Are you kidding me, dude? And
also,
if they don't,
hold on. From his perspective, it makes sense because you got Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs.
it's a sick team.
And with the seventh pick, what they can do from the Raiders' perspective is they can give them the seventh pick to the Packers. They can give them next year's first round. They can give them probably like another third or a fourth or whatever. So they have package because of that seventh pick.
Is he interested in Josh McDaniels though? Like, is
That
Josh McDaniels going to let him run an offense, or is like
Good question.
Josh McDaniels put up any record of like ever being a decent head coach and like winning games? You know,
No, he's had one season and he's literally had the should have been a good playoff team, and they were god awful. They're terrible.
They're really bad. Hold on, before we move on, let's just lock in tomorrow's pod versus guest. I can take this from the pod perspective. Jeff, just for perspective, Tiger shot 2 under 69. It's a 71 par. Just again, want to make sure we're aligned here. He is currently T27th, tied for 27th at the tournament. It's the Genesis Invitational. He's never won at Riviera. It's in LA. What do you got tomorrow? His score? Will he both make the cut? What will he shoot?
I think he'll make the cut. I think he shoots above par. I think I said a 74. Can I amend it?
Yeah, you can amend it just because I want to make sure we're on the same playing field here.
Yeah, maybe a 72. I don't know if Tiger has multiple rounds of golf in him. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like he gets
tired.
He was using the driver a couple times as kind of like a cane.
You see him limping around on the golf course.
He did look better.
That's
he had one 340 drive today where I was like,
yeah, he's pure power still.
Okay, so you have a 72. The pod's going to lock in at I think just to make it fun, 71.
Yeah, good pick, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, there we go. Pod versus guest. Can we go undefeated this year?
Probably. We're the fucking best.
All right, can we segue into the Super Bowl now? Because
hold on. Fucking hold on, dude. Jesus Christ. All right, so Jeff.
I want to hear what Shore was going to say.
I don't care what Shore had to say. And Shore, we're talking about that shit later on. Don't get ahead of ourselves here. All right, Shore. All right, Jeff. So I want a little bit of history from Jeff, and I want you to give us a little monologue here. But first, our listener Alfonso and Jack Standerdan are very familiar with the beer chunk event that we do at the draft every year.
Sure.
And I was looking at the data, and you are the all-time slowest beer chugger runner in the league. I think, I need to double check, but I think you've only not run the slowest time once. So let me just quickly go through. In 2017, you didn't run because your leg was broken.
Correct.
So you just have an X next to your name. In 2018, you ran a 12.94. 11th place was 10 seconds. You were a lot slower than 11th place. 2019, let's see here. You actually were fast in 2019. Everybody was pretty fast. Skylar ran a 6.83. I think that's the fastest time ever.
Keep in mind we measure the 40 yards pretty tipsy and by walking in a straight line. So I'm going to say that was a 35-yard dash.
Yeah, it's definitely different lengths every year, but here nor there. You ran a 10.4, which is not bad. Nick, who was a friend of the league, not in the league, but he was at the draft that year, he ran a 10.43, which is surprising because Nick's like a fast runner, but it's a combo, right? You got to be a chugger and a runner, and you're neither, really.
Did anyone check my shirt on the tape there? Am I wearing most of that beer? Because I'm going to guess that's the only way that happened, is if I was allowed to not. If I snuck through an incomplete chug.
Jeff, in 2022, so we're not giving you not last place in 20 whatever that year that was, 2019. 2022, 2020 results were not in this data set because we did them remotely and I don't know where they are. They're in a different spreadsheet, but skip forward to 2022. You ran a 14.13, getting slower, but Magnus ran a 15.01.
He was injured. He skipped it. He did the sort of the hop.
Oh, he had a hamstring, didn't he?
Yeah.
Gideon ran a 12.8. Gideon ran a 12.87. Just for context, Gideon ran a 12.87 on 1 foot.
Right.
Matt's a fast chugger. He ran a. His time is not here. So maybe he didn't run. I don't remember. But anyway, I just wanted to kick us off, giving you a little intro there. You're not good at chugging beer and you're not running. And I think this is going to tie interestingly because I'd like to hear your take because you're one of these people at the draft that is a pretty hard believer and a pretty hard preacher that the draft events, while they do matter for the pick, they don't necessarily impact the outcome of the fantasy season, which I'd like for you to first give us a little bit of history on yourself. Where do you come from? What do you like? When did you join the league? How many championships do you have? And then maybe you can segue into a little bit about how you feel about the draft and the events.
Sure. Yeah. From Massachusetts originally. Went to school at UVM, just like most everybody. Not most everybody. A lot of the league. Been in the league since like 2016, 2017. Actually, don't remember the first year, but somewhere around there. 2-time champion. If I had scored about 8 more points in the regular season this year, I'd be a 3-time champion, but that's neither here nor there. And yeah, I don't think. I think the draft events are awesome, and I think that they matter because, as Sky said, we're a competitive league, and you want to win the draft events. But I do not think. I am a firm believer that your pick in the first round does not have a huge impact on your overall chances of winning the league. I think you can do just as well in the middle of the first round, at the end of the first round. People that get the first pick have to wait a long time for their second pick, and quarterbacks fly off the board and they get kind of hosed. It's tough, you know. I think the 2 QB league makes the draft a little bit less, makes the early rounds of the draft a little bit less important because you can find value later, is my opinion. And, you know, just a little bit of history. All those years I came in dead last in the draft events. I think I came in dead last in the draft events every year I won the league. We can check the tape, but I think that's true. I can't imagine ever having come in the top like half of the draft events. Can't even fathom it unless Sky carried me into some like Pong championship or something. But like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the stars can kind of align because you can end up on a golf team that wins. You can end up on a Pong team with Caldwell or Magnus.
True.
And then you can play in the football game with like Chuck and Sky. And then all of a sudden you've got first places, and maybe you didn't necessarily contribute. It's an interesting.
It's a team sport.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. It takes everybody, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you here, buddy. I'm excited. So Sky, and sure, I know you're itching to get into the Super Bowl and into the pod versus guest from last week. The floor is yours. Let's talk about it. What happened? What went down during the Super Bowl?
Yeah, we fucked him up.
Yep. I mean, we were
Let's
Chiefs
run
heavy.
through it.
We were Chiefs heavy to start, and we would have looked like absolute idiots if the Eagles won. Which, oh, by the way, I never had a doubt. Okay, halftime rolls around. Eagles are looking good. Mahomes' ankle in question. I said to myself, this is the exact script the NFL wrote to be this Super Bowl. I don't understand how you guys gave up hope. You know, Kyle's text in the group being like, "Oh man, we're idiots," and I'm like, "Hey, I don't know if you know, Kyle. There's a second half of football that has to be played, and the NFL wrote a pretty damn good script. And I guarantee you, that Mahomes is bringing this home on that bum ankle that actually probably wasn't even hurt because that's part of the script. And lo and behold, what happens? The Chiefs storm out there. They just wax the Eagles.
I don't know if they wax them, but can we first start with the tails never fails? I'm gonna put it. We have.
Yeah, let's start at the top. Let's start at the top, Sky.
Yeah. So Chris Stapleton, the 202 was a immaculate call of the over under.
That was sick.
Over, we hit that one. Then we go down to the coin flip, which again we replay the tape. Kyle, you can add this in. Schwer and I were on tails. You Kyle wanted to be. Let's be different. Tails never fails. It's the age-old rule. Schwer and I were on that train.
Yep.
I don't give a shit, man. I like stirring it up. You know me.
The next one, first TD, we both lost that one.
But we had Kelsey first TD, so I mean, he got the second TD, which is we were close.
We did. Yeah. Once Philly won the coin flip, I was like, oh, that's not good.
It's a wash. It's a wash because Kenneth Gainwell scored first.
He did, Kenneth Gainwell, which they almost went with Boston Scott.
Cobb wanted Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was like, Boston Scott.
We won the actual game, Chiefs. MVP we won, Patty Mahomes. Gatorade color, we both lost. We went red, yellow. Teammates, we nailed. Patrick Mahomes double down. He said in this first one, and then he went back at his second speech and went back to teammates, which was wild to me watching that.
Yeah,
an amazing call.
We did lose snack though.
The reporter was like, "How's your ankle?" And he's like, teammates." Just immediately. Whatever was that.
Did we ever confirm was there a proposal after the game? I don't know if we did. I think we already had won by that time.
I don't know if it matters.
We both went no on that one anyway, so that doesn't really matter. I actually don't know what the first commercial snack company was or the first beer.
I think it was Pringles. Pringles was the snack.
It was Pringles, and then it was Michelob Ultra, which we got.
So we got that. We hit that.
Beer of athletes. You're welcome.
That was sure. And then the last one was the punter. I don't know if I didn't even look at any of these stats. I had a few waters during the game.
Tommy Longdong.
Your punter didn't even play, so I duped them into that one.
Brett Kern got cut from the team like 2 hours before or something like that.
Yeah, but anyways, we waxed him. It really was. I mean, it was just kind of a domination.
Yeah, pod's sick. Everyone said Eagles. Everyone's like birds.
You see the Fox thing where it just said Eagles. Every analyst said Eagles.
Yep.
Also, last one here from me from the game was, can we just talk about Patrick Mahomes? First off, the greatness of him. Second off, which I care more about, is this guy's limping around. He gets pulled off the freaking game. And then he's running around like he's Willy Wonka's grandpa out there. Like he can run a 4.4 40-yard. It's insane. Like, what happened? I was laughing at the screen when that happened.
Cortisone shots.
It's either cortisone shots or the script. Let's be real.
They go to that blue tent, and about 4 doctors grab syringes, and they just come at him from all angles. And he was numb from the waist down. As an athlete, I actually believe this. I believe he was like over limping just to show that like he was so tough. And I hate to say that, but I believe that.
It could be that, but also like everybody keeps saying how much of a genius these guys are. This like coaching staff and Andy Reid. Think about what that does to the Eagles locker room at the half, right? Like Patrick Mahomes limps off the field, like writhing in pain. I don't know. Build it into the play. Like, hey, Patty, on this next tackle, just make it look like you're hurt. We're going to go into that. We're going to go in the locker room, and the Eagles are going to be riding high on you sitting on the bench in the second half. And if you look at how they came out and played, the Eagles were just soft in the second half. The Chiefs just dominated.
The Eagles were soft. I got to give Hurts credit, though. Hurts looked like a baller out there.
Yeah.
The conspiracy theories aside, Patrick Mahomes looked like a king out there. That's for fucking sure.
I definitely think
but I got it again. Hurts on the day I thought was actually better. Hurts was super impressive.
I do think Mahomes was definitely hurt, but I do agree with Sky that I think show it off a little bit more. Get people to to show how tough you are. And yeah, I do. I think like adrenaline too. I mean, we've never played in a Super Bowl. I know we play in the flag football, touch football game every year, but and my adrenaline's certainly running. So if I had a bum ankle, I don't think I'd feel it either in that type of game. But I think that's a factor too, for sure.
Talking about just absolutely mentally dominating the other team, and that in our last flag football game, the Ivy League, we absolutely destroyed the washed up league.
That's
just
not
mentally.
Right. That's not what game were you?
Absolutely mentally. I was just creating chaos.
We were talking
Absolute
about
chaos.
You guys won because a men's league softball team came in and the field was getting taken, and we had to like rush.
Men's league, swear.
More like mentally, Charlie got effed by that men's league team. To be honest, he was whining, crying about a men's league team approaching us.
They were about to hit softballs out.
Let him hit it at us. That was our mentality. Let him play.
Let him smack it at us.
If we're talking about, big games and ref calls and not calls, we had the big PI holding in the Super Bowl, changed the course of the game. Can we talk a little bit about Dave's touchdown reception?
Dave wanted it more.
In the absolute mauling he put on the defender there to get at that ball.
Dave wanted it more.
Flag should have been flying on that.
If that's Kyle, I say throw the flag. It's Dave.
Yeah,
I agree.
Dave
didn't know what he was doing. Dave just closed his eyes and ran, and the ball just fell into his hands.
I think
put his hands out.
I think you're underestimating his strength and that base he has and the ability he has to cause chaos.
He does have a strong base. He does have an absolute diesel engine down low, doesn't he?
He caught it between his legs with like a clam type catching.
That's his strength. His thighs are his superpower. That's how he's gonna win. He clamped him around that ball and he held on for dear life. But before that, he assaulted a few members of my team, and I just want the record to show that happened. That's all.
Yeah. Talk about a great segue from Super Bowl football game to our, two-hand touch Super Bowl game. Great segue.
I mean, those are competitive matches every year.
Yeah.
Well, not this year because we're gonna F you guys up this year. I'm sorry to say it. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
For our listener, Jeff, please describe how the flag football. So the flag football game is one of the events to draft, and so there's a winning team and a losing team, and the winners on the winning team get the most points that contribute to the overall draft points. So Jeff, go ahead and explain to us how, for Alfonso and for Jack, how we select these teams.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Are you overpaying for your dog? And is it missing teeth? And does it bite you a little bit too hard? Well, that's because you probably didn't ask for the dog facts when you bought the damn dog. So, you probably don't have the best price for this dog. And you know what? It probably was abused by its last owner. So next time when you're checking out at the dog store, say, "Show me the dog facts." And you'll get the most accurate price based on your dog. And it's dog history. Dog facts. That's all I got for now. Dog facts. This is so dumb. I don't know why I thought of that. I actually wrote that down in my notepad one time, and I was like drunk, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is a genius idea. They should have a database for dogs." Hey, this is Tony Spumoni here. I'm telling you guys, if you didn't show up to Steve Aioli night last Thursday, you missed out big. And I know, you're probably still washing the aioli sauce off of your shoes, but it was worth it. And I want to tell you about another night coming up this Saturday. We got Rock and Rolls night. We're talking Buns and Roses. We're talking, Taking Back Subway, Pickleback, Third Ride Blind, Eurosmith. Yeah, all those jams and more. Come down to Club Sandwich this Saturday. Yeah, and I still don't know the address for the place, but shoot me a note and I'll send it to you. Tony Spumoni, Club Sandwich. How you doing?
All right. Now back to the show.
It's very simple. Playoff teams, the Ivy League, are one team, and then non-playoff teams, the Washed Up League, are the other team. Washed Up League this year, full of studs, just athlete after athlete. I'm excited. I think it's
So who is it? It's Schwer, Sky, Charlie,
Jeff.
me,
Jeff,
me, athlete after athlete, just
after athlete.
Gideon Cobb.
Oh my God, you guys have Gideon too?
We're gonna puncture you guys.
Dude, I have like Caldwell and Magnus. Magnus is gonna eat like a fucking pound of Doritos and like be sick on the sideline.
I just am so glad this year that Magnus and I are on opposite teams, so that we can guard each other, because that's my favorite part of the fantasy, the flag football game.
You know that the best part too is with every year, because of injuries happen either during the 40 or during the weekend, it's always 5v5, even though it's actually 6v6. The game's actually played as a 5v5 match.
So there's so many people hurt. Dude, Matt Flynn, whatever year that was, he had the chafing. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, dude, he had so much chafing he couldn't even walk.
Petroleum Jelly, that's why he got the name. Petroleum Jelly.
His team name is sponsored by Petroleum Jelly. And the whole thing is because that year he like couldn't walk and made us like stop at CVS before the flag football game so he could lather up before the game. Just 100-degree weather, a fucking jar of petroleum jelly between his legs. Disgusting.
That's the other thing is the boys don't do well in heat, and so we always lower this. I feel like we always go in with a score in mind, and then we just like agree at halftime to lower the score to end the game sooner, because it's about 115 degrees and we're all struggling.
Yeah. Actually, next year we will do it on the beach, which will add another variable, which actually I think could actually help your team, Kyle, because it will like equal out
the boys down.
Yeah, it'll slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like Tom Brady in the snow.
Oh, that sucks, because I was actually planning on like bringing cleats this year and just.
I still might bring cleats for the sand.
You're gonna bring cleats, so there's gonna be barefooted guys in the sand and guys in cleats in the sand.
I'm playing in flip flops. You can't.
I will burn your flip flops as team captain for my team.
Charlie plays in bare feet every year. It's pretty psychotic.
I don't know that cleats are gonna work in the sand, though, Sky.
They might.
Definitely not.
I'm bringing snowshoes so I can stay above the sand.
That's
actually smart.
Why?
All right. Any other hot takes on the Super Bowl? Like, do we
want? One more.
I feel like everybody's talking about the hold and on sports radio, and I almost don't want to talk about it. But we can.
One more from me, and then I'll be quiet for a little bit. The pay discrepancy, I feel like, is one that's been highlighted quite a bit, from Patrick Mahomes being the third highest paid player in the NFL. He makes for 2023, so next year he will make just shy of $47 million. Bang, 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 boy. And then we think about Jalen Hurts, who, again, I thought outplayed him. Not a better quarterback, but outplayed him in the game. He's on track to make $4.8 million next year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A big talking point from this week, I feel like, coming out of the Super Bowl is Jalen Hurts has been super respectful, super professional about his pay, and like he's just waiting his time and then he'll get paid in the future. I think it's kind of crazy, the fact that like the Eagles haven't already started these discussions. If I'm the Eagles, I start that discussion now. He will be making north of 35-40 million, depending on what year he signs that next contract. But I think it's wild. Like, he's going to make $4.8 million next year, and Patrick Mahomes is going to make $47 million. It's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, it is pretty wild.
His payday's coming. You know, those rookie scale contracts.
Or it's not, because he blows at his knee.
Oh,
true.
Don't wish that on him.
I'm don't
yeah.
wish
I mean,
I've
it's
been on the
football.
pod saying I like him. I actually really like him, but
No, it's
And
fair enough.
it's good for his team too. They can load up around him at that 4 point.
Yeah, it ultimately probably. I mean, there's another. I think Jeff, that's the other perspective, which is like, look at Patrick Mahomes' team, and obviously he doesn't need a great team around him. But like when these guys are early in their career, they get paid less, but the teams have the ability to put more weapons around them, which ultimately sets them up for success in those early years so that they can really prove themselves, and then they become the franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And then the teams like shift towards paying the quarterback because the quarterback has proven that they can ultimately be successful without superstars on their team.
Does Jalen Hurts prove himself out to be in line for a big payday without AJ Brown? I think it's an open question. Like that's a great guy to be tossing the rock to. And it made him look. I mean, he is very good, but it made him look even better.
Mm-hmm.
Like that touchdown throw to Brown, he just threw it up and let him go get it.
he was a big boy on that play.
AJ, that was nasty what he did.
That's
Like
sick.
he just absolutely torched the safety. Just put him on the ground. Just
I love
juked him.
that.
Devonta had a sick catch that was called back too.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, they got
catches that game.
studs.
Yeah, it's kind of sick. But fuck the Eagles, right, boys?
Yeah, fuck the Eagles.
All right. Yeah, it was a great Super Bowl. I mean, I thought people were complaining about it at the end there.
I didn't care about that. That was a hold.
Yeah, dude, that's how I think about it, where it's like, I don't know. It's definitely like a gray area, and I just like feel bad for these refs sometimes because it's like you're calling the fucking football game, and that you're making split-second decisions. It's like so hard to consider all of the variables and be like, I'm going to throw a flag on that hold that was clearly a hold versus, oh, well, because of the situation of the game, I'm not going to pull it because of XYZ, and we want to make it like as close as possible at the end.
Also, Burn, he had the exact same play in the second quarter, and they didn't call it. And what I read about later was that because he did it earlier in the game, the refs were on the lookout for it. So he already got away with one. It's like
he said he was trying to get away. Like he said he was trying to get away with him. Like
so on that point, like I actually feel like it goes to the coaching staff, and this is what I was reading about was that like Sirianni, their OC or their DC, should have been on him and being like, hey, whatever you guys fucking do not hold here because it's worse if you do have a holding play than letting him score a touchdown. Because again, what you saw with Jerick McKinnon sliding at the 1 yard line, then running out the clock, it's like that was the worst thing that could have happened to them.
Yeah, if they had scored, they would have gotten the ball right back.
And that goes to coaching, though, even more so than the individual player. Like if they didn't translate that out.
Yeah, it's
I think it is tough on the flip side of that to set the precedent as a officiating crew that you can do that and it's fine, and then to call it, right? Like I don't know if it's like a missed call or like they're calling the game a certain way and then they change it. I think it's hard to know which one was the case. Like I think the one thing you ask for is consistency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're doing something all game and all of a sudden it's not okay, you're like, well, where was that rule 3 quarters ago?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that call was a little soft. I agree that it's like very technically a hold. I also like whatever happened to like, I guess on holding it doesn't come into play, but whatever happened to like whether the ball is even catchable. Like if he runs free, is that I mean that ball is nowhere near him. Like is he going to gain that much ground? Like I don't know.
Well, it was what it was. It is what it is. We got a lot left to cover here, so I'm going to move us along from the Super Bowl. So we're going to do this little thing this week, Skylar. This was one of the things that you wanted to do, which was end of the season awards for players as it relates to fantasy. So I believe all of us have brought to the table some players that we loved, some players that we didn't love, or players that we were surprised by, I think, in lots of cases. So, Jeff, why don't you kick us off?
Sure.
Who was the most surprising quarterback to you this year?
The most surprising quarterback, like in a good way?
Yes,
It's
yeah,
surprising in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be Geno, right? Like who saw Geno Smith being a top 10 quarterback in fantasy? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I had him as
everyone
mine
wrote
too, actually.
everyone wrote him off, but I mean, he didn't write back. That's what they
Yeah.
say.
I can. Okay.
Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
Isn't that what Gino said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty good. I like that.
He's
Yeah.
also a keeper in our league too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
huge.
has him?
Who Gus? Who has him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gus.
Gus. That's kind of sick. Scott, you had what's his name? Gino as well?
Yep.
What
Also,
about you?
for reference, I did do my homework. QB6 this year.
Yeah.
I did my homework as well,
Good.
and that's what I had for QBs.
That's what you had. Yeah.
Does anybody have? I have other ones that were pretty surprising. They were both on my team.
Yeah, Kyle, go QB, and then we'll go round robin. Do QB, and then Jeff, you got RB to start it.
Okay.
We'll go Jeff, Schwer, Kyle.
So this is a controversial one, and I know I talk a lot of shit about him, but I thought that Tua was incredible when he played. He was unbelievable, actually. His passer rating overall was an 84. He threw let's see here. He threw for 25 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, for reference, threw 41. He had a 78 QBR. I thought, and his accuracy, like that was the whole thing with him, and that everybody was really excited about, was that he was just very accurate ball thrower. And so I don't know. It's just one of these things where, like, I do think that he has a lot of potential. And I didn't think, based on last year, I didn't think he was going to be anything. I thought the Dolphins were just going to be the Dolphins. But he kind of came out, and they were electric. The Dolphins were sick. They had the best offense in the NFL through the first, 10 weeks or something, and then they just broke because Tua smashed his head into the ground.
No, I don't actually hate it at all. I think it's a good pick. If you look at his numbers, he missed 4 games. So he missed a chunk of time, which obviously hurt him. At the same time, he averaged 20.8 points per game, which is on track for a top 10 performance as a QB. So, yeah.
And there was that one game where he was so hot in the first half, and then he definitely got concussed in the game, and then he was trash in the second half because he didn't know where he was, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was some Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were on some historic pace as a duo, like an unprecedented NFL receiving production.
Yeah.
In part because of Tua and that scheme. That scheme just, it's kind of, you're running crosses with the two fastest people in the NFL, or two of the fastest people in the NFL, and they're just wide open. It's pretty.
All right, running backs. Let's go, Jeff. You're up.
All right. Nobody liked my Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill take. We're just moving right on. Okay.
For reference too, he would have been the QB6 if he had played all of his games.
If he had kept pacing, yeah.
No, we don't have time to talk. We don't have time to talk about Tua anymore. We got to talk about running backs. I can't. Yeah. No, I think my surprising running back. I'm gonna go with Jamal Williams.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think he was very. I think he was surprising both from a production standpoint. What do you have, 17 touchdowns?
17.
Yeah, and then RB10. I think everybody had Swift being this breakout candidate, and it was Jamal. Also, most surprising drop in our league's history.
Oh my god, dude! Don't even bring it up. So mad.
Don't be mad. I drafted him, so I get the madness. I get to deserve to be mad. No one else does. I drafted him.
Well, Gideon dropping him accidentally and then us giving him back to him is just insane.
Yeah,
dude. I think I would have gotten him. I think that week I had the top waiver spot, and I woke up. And I have this thing during the fantasy season where the first thing I do when on Monday, Tuesday morning is I'm just scouring the waivers, just right out of bed, alarm goes off, shut it off, open the fantasy app, scouring the waiver wires, and I see Jamal Williams is available, and I'm like, what? And immediately put in a bid for him, but obviously the whole fucking Jamal Williams gate went down.
Oh, I meant to drop Chuba Hubbard. Oh,
so stupid.
That was dumb, but he didn't make the playoffs, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, I'm up. Saquon Barkley. This one's an interesting one, but at the same time, if you think about it, he was a third, fourth round pick from our league because we do have a 2 QB league. At the same time, I feel like no one really was confident with him at all, or really had any faith like that he could get back to an RB1. End of the year RB6, while also sitting the last game of the year because they had already been in the playoffs. So likely would have been an RB5 or 4 in the year. I mean, he was an absolute stud to begin the year. 34 points week 1, and like for the first basically 8 weeks he was the number 1 RB, meaning from a regular season perspective he can carry your team, which is amazing to have that value at third or fourth rounder.
Was he on Chuck's
Also, side note, just fun to watch him play, so excited for him to be back.
Yeah, but fuck the Giants. He was not on Chuck's team. Scotty had Saquon Barkley and dude, he had stud running backs. Who was his other running back?
I don't know.
Oh fuck.
Scotty had Christian McCaffrey and
yes, yeah, Christian McCaffrey and Saquon.
Which actually, Christian was my honorable mention.
Yeah, I mean that was
similar
pretty
camp.
cool.
Yeah. A couple redemption stories.
Yeah, you're up, sure.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a flyer, and only a few guys will know this pick. I know Kyle will. Surprising, unfortunately, got injured halfway through the season. Breece Hall, guy was off to a hot start.
My keeper, boys. I'm fucking fired up. That guy was he's absolute stud. Just a boy on the field too, just mowing big boys down. He was an absolute animal. I didn't pick him. Sure, I picked Jamal. It was between him. Jamal, I just had to pick Jamal just because of like his story coming from Green Bay and going to the Lions and being shitty and then not really playing, and then DeAndre Swift is supposed to be this like amazing player, and then he just comes in and puts the long schlong down, which was sick. My runner up was actually, it was between Jamal, who were we just talking about? Oh, Breece and Travis. Yeah. Surprised no one picked Trav.
Etienne?
Yeah. No, bro, dude, no. That's an awful pick, actually.
Really? Why?
So I'll tell you why. I had Travis Etienne. Remember, I traded for him, and when I traded for him for a week, basically like the week 10 through week 13, which can arguably be the most important weeks, he basically put up duds every week. And he also got hurt for a little bit there too, and he was basically useless. I started him a couple games. He got me like 2 points, and then he was hurt.
Well, so Dave had him, and he was an absolute stud.
Absolute stud. Absolute stud. Traded for him and was an absolute.
Dave knew the algorithm.
He traded him to me. He traded him to me, and I traded him off to you. And yeah, you're right. He wasn't very good at the end of the year, but I mean, 1,100 rushing yards and 5.
No, he's awesome. He just was not like I was. Yeah, he wasn't good.
All right, moving on. Wide receiver, Jeffrey.
Sure. I feel like a lot of the top wide receivers were exactly who we thought they would be, which is made this a little tough. But I think for any rookie to end up in the top 10 with someone who was like, maybe even like a questionable quarterback coming in, we just talked about him a lot with a Super Bowl performance. But Devontae Smith, I think was a surprise as a wide out there.
Second-year player.
Oh shit, second-year player. Okay, I think still. Never mind. I take it back.
Whoops. But still a great player.
Yeah.
I like Devontae Smith a lot. I mean, when he was a senior or junior in Alabama, he was a Heisman winner, which is crazy. Mine was Christian Kirk, wide receiver number 12 on the year. Why I picked him specifically was I feel like he got a lot of slack when he signed that deal to make him the 9th highest paid player from the wide receiver position. By the way, he gets paid $23 million next year, which is kind of crazy. But at the same time, he produced. He was a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 12, which is crazy. Christian Kirk.
I like it.
All right. This one's kind of crazy. I'm surprised you guys didn't pick this guy. Actually, someone in the league had kind of predicted this guy's stardom like early on, like several years back. Knew this guy was going to be good. Jacoby Myers finished 32 on the year this year, 67 receptions, 96 targets, 6 TDs. I mean, Kyle picked this guy back in, I think it was 2020, said this guy is the future. It's just taken him a few years to finally eclipse that 33 ranked wide receiver, sitting at 32 end of the year. Just absolutely overperformed.
Yeah, for Alfonso and Jack, I have this way of picking players way too early, like years and years before they get. I think I had Derrick Henry on my bench for 2 years before he even played football. I actually picked up Devontae
He also was
Adams.
a Heisman winner, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Devontae Adams, but he was behind. Was it DeMarco Murray? Was that why?
Yeah,
you
DeMarco Murray was legit.
Yeah, and DeMarco Murray was like did the best few seasons of his career. And then I was Devontae Adams high on him. Actually, I got him off the waiver. And then Jacoby Myers was my other big one. But yeah, I pick guys too early. That's what I do. My pick is Scary Terry McLaurin. I think this guy's a stud. He never, ever has had a good quarterback throwing to him. He ended up, I think, 10th overall or something like that.
15th.
Actually, I'm looking at the stats. I'm not looking at fantasy stats. So,
I'm looking at fantasy stats. 15th.
Yeah, but he had just about 1,200 yards receiving. I think the most interesting data point is his yards per reception. So the number one wide receiver, the wide receiver data is kind of interesting because Justin Jefferson is the number one wide receiver, but he only had 8 touchdowns compared to Devontae Adams with 14, who had the most. But Terry McLaurin had 5 touchdowns. But the most interesting stat, I think, is his yards per reception. He had 15.5 yards per reception, whereas Justin Jefferson only has 14.1. He's only second to Jalen Waddle at 18.1.
Just got to get him a quarterback.
Just got to give him a quarterback. The guy's an absolute monster. He's so good. He's so good.
He's good.
All right. So, let's finish it up on the tight end, and then we'll go on to players that we absolutely hated. All right, Jeff, give me your tight end.
Sure. Love that he's a tight end. Taysom Hill. He's just surprising every week because he's a roller coaster ride. You know, he's the guy most likely to put up 68 points on your bench. And then you start him and he puts up a goose egg. But the roller coaster that is Taysom Hill is just the gift that keeps on giving in fantasy football at the tight end position.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I almost put him. I actually put him. I put him in my flex, but I don't think we should just keep going here.
Yeah, great one there, Jeff. I had TJ Hawkinson. He was my player too. Tight end number 3 on the year. He was traded in conference, in division, which is just mind-boggling that can, like, the Lions would do that. I don't really understand the trade. He's a stud. He's awesome. Huge TJ Hawkinson fan.
Yeah, that trade worked out well for him. He was gonna be my pick, but I'll pivot just to be a little different. Evan Ingram had a big year in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence there. We did not see that coming. I think I snagged him on my team. But yeah, he had a big year.
Yeah.
I picked my guy, and I feel like it's too easy, but
hold on. Evan Ingram, by the way, was tight end 6 in our league.
Yeah.
I mean, tight ends were just trash this year.
Yeah, very, very bad.
Like, tight end 6 was scoring like 4 points a week.
Darren Waller, tight end 28.
8.5.
I think Evan Ingram was he was a league winner for somebody that made the playoffs. Yeah. He just blew up at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, well he was
actually on Caldwell's team.
No, Evan Ingram's on my team.
Jeff had him.
Oh, you had him.
Yeah. I was mad.
He would have been. In other leagues, he was almost certainly a league winner. He just was blowing up at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, my guy here. So I think that he just didn't get enough love this year. After all he went through, he had 4 quarterbacks throwing to him throughout the year. He was on a great team, and he's one of the greatest tight ends of all time, George Kittle. I just feel like people just were not that high on him. And it was tough because the tight ends were iffy, and he was inconsistent. But
he was injured.
He had some injuries. He was inconsistent, but he finished the year with 11 touchdowns, second to Travis Kelce at 12 touchdowns. He actually has more yards per carry than Travis Kelce. I just think that he had a great year, and no one really cared. I just think because the San Francisco has so many weapons and so many people to talk about, and also they just had so much quarterback drama this year.
Yeah.
It's surprising to see him that high. I did not think about George Kittle once this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody was talking about it.
Yeah.
It was weird. All right, moving on to players we hate. This is the fun part. Players we hate. Quarterbacks. Jeff, you're up.
Sure. Players we hate. I mean, I can go players that started off on my team. They're just absolute garbage. Tom Brady, love him. Love Tom Brady. Absolute dumpster fire of a fantasy season for his standards. Traded him off. Got back a guy that's probably on Sky. Ended up through various trades getting a guy that's probably on Sky's list. I won't steal that from him, but yeah, I'm gonna go TB12.
Yeah. So I had two, but I'm just gonna go with one and leave the other one because somebody else will have him. Mac Jones, QB 23, averaged
hate Mac Jones.
Averaged 12.9 points. Just for context, Joe Burrow averaged as QB4 24 points. So this dude had an average per week of half of the QB4. That's just like, you can't win games with that.
I mean, his OC kind of screwed him. Pat.
Doesn't matter. I'm here to give you last year. Next year, whole different situation. He has Bill O'Brien. They had a great year at Alabama together, and I hope he has a great year. I'm a huge Mac Jones fan. It's just surprisingly bad. I mean, it just is what it is.
I mean, I was at the Pats Jets game where it was literally like a 0-0 game in the fourth quarter, and it was a 3-3 game. It was like the most brutal football game to watch. There was like no passes on either side, and last minute of the game, punt return by the Pats to take it home. So that was sick, but absolutely atrocious offense, which segues into my quarterback kind of too. Both the Wilsons absolutely stunk this year. Russell and Zach, terrible years. Russ is not cooking. He's not cooking in Denver, that's for sure. And Zach Wilson straight up stinks, and then he blames it on his defense and doesn't take ownership. So that guy's dead to that organization. So both the Wilsons absolutely stunk this year.
Dude, quarterbacks were just crazy this year. Like, I don't know this. It just felt this way. I don't know if this is a fact. We need to get a fact check guy. But I feel like this was like it felt like this was the year where there were like the most starting quarterbacks ever. Just like so many fucking people started.
It was. That is a fact.
Do you guys think Zach Wilson is remaining a quarterback in the NFL or no?
No, he's done.
I mean, he's kind of poopy buttholes, right?
He's
like
done.
You said. So I have Dak Prescott, and I just have a personal vendetta with this guy. I drafted him either first or second overall because he, everybody's saying he's supposed to be like, this guy's supposed to be the fantasy quarterback. He was of the year. He's supposed to be like top 3, maybe top 5 fantasy quarterback. Week 1 gets hurt, doesn't play for 8 weeks. I'm starting Cooper Rush. And then he comes back and he's just like never was great. Like had like 2 good weeks where he scored over 20 points, but the Cowboys were just handing off. Maybe it's the Cowboys that I should blame, the coaching staff, but I just feel like he didn't do anything this year. Like he didn't play.
QB 19 this year.
Just not good. And that's crazy for a first, second round pick. Like I got hosed by Dak.
I thought for sure somebody would say Matt Stafford. That's why I left him up there, just as a disappointment.
I just feel like I gave him like a pass for some reason because everyone got hurt, and I just feel like it was just like a washed year for them, even though it hurt my team a lot because he was my second round pick.
All right, Jeff, kick us off with a running back here.
Yeah, I feel like I should just always have my always in the slot, even though it wasn't for this year, but is always Jerick McKinnon because I've for many, many years always drafted him and he's burned me by getting hurt. But this year, same story. I have to put, it's not his fault, but Javonte Williams. I was putting a lot of my hopes and dreams in a Javonte Williams breakout year, and then just not available, and that hurts and it's disappointing. I don't hate him personally, but I hate the fantasy outcome. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, he was sick until he blew out his knee.
Right.
Yeah.
This is about a minute and a half.
Same with Brees. Brees was like the number 5 quarterback through like week 5 or something, and then he just gone.
So I decided to do one that was not an injury riddled one, just to keep it above that, because I feel like that's, I agree with you, Javonte. Bummer. Najee Harris, RB16, was super healthy all year, just so slow. Just started slow, was just so slow. Watching the tape, you're just like, this guy's not moving fast.
Remember Eddie Lacy when he got fat?
Yeah. Eddie Lacy and Schwer were on the same diet there for a few years. Just chili dog after chili dog. Then Schwer's just sitting on the couch watching football, but Eddie Lacy's going out there and playing football. It just doesn't work. Schwer, who do you got?
I have a guy on my team, kind of same thing with Sky. Pretty healthy throughout the year. Saw a lot of carries, but just absolutely stunk. David Montgomery on the Bears. So it's like I had to handcuff him with Herbert, and it was just like I didn't even know who to play, because Herbert was like actually seemed to be more athletic and more, his yards per carry were way more, but it was like they were handing the ball to Montgomery for nothing yards all game. So it just that I think screwed my team this year, because it was like I had to start the guy. He was healthy. He was getting majority of the carries, but he was just eclipsing no yards and never seeing the end zone.
Yeah, but you're kind of a dumbass, because who touches the Bears with a 10-foot pole? Like, Justin Fields had some electric weeks, but I don't want him on my fantasy team.
They just had every team playing the Bears just had 11 people lined up on the line of scrimmage, and we were like, all right, throw the ball.
Yeah. I had DeAndre Swift. I thought it was a nice counterpoint to just the whole story of Jamal Williams. DeAndre Swift was on my team for a second, and I got rid of him very quick. I convinced Chuck to take him off my hands for Justin Jeffy and a couple other people. But yeah, I don't know. Like they were Hard Knocks this year, and I just remember like a couple scenes in Hard Knocks where their coaches were like, "Dude, you could be one of the greats. You have the talent," and he just didn't do anything. And it was, I mean, he had some injuries, but nothing serious. He was just like, sprained shoulder, hurt, kind of out 1 week. But then when he played, it was just same thing as Najee, just didn't look good.
Yeah.
All right. Wide receivers that we hate. Jeffy.
Yeah. Again, I'm just going to go to my team and people that I had high hopes for, that, I think the talent's there, but they just let me down. Drake London, I thought, first couple of weeks really popped, and I was like, here we go. I've got a guy who, going to be a good keeper, maybe some trade bait, and then just duds from there on out. And that's mostly Marcus Mariota's fault, but still a disappointment.
Yep. I got Allen Robinson, wide receiver, 87, big contract, big hopes going to LA Rams, and just awful.
Yeah, he was
didn't
terrible.
have a step.
He was so good on the Bears. He caught everything. He was a target monster, target machine. I thought he was going to have a big year.
Sure.
I went with Deontay Johnson. Guy also saw like 10 targets a game, and yet he just was just consistently average. Never turned him into any big yard plays. I actually traded him to Cobb halfway through the year, and I was like, Cobb, this guy's probably going to do great for you. He gets freaking 11 targets a game, and I'm just looking at his back of the year stats, and it was the same old thing, like never really eclipsed 10 points throughout any week, and that's crazy because half a point per reception, and yet like he has some weeks where he got like 10 receptions, but yeah, not underperformed.
I will say sorry for my quarterback Kenny Pickett on a little bit of that.
Yeah.
The Steelers. I mean, yeah, come on. Like, who is playing quarterback? That guy is pissed. Like, maybe worse than Mac Jones. I thought more people would say this, honestly, and it's not all his fault because he got hurt and his quarterback got hurt. But the Rams were just such a disappointment this year coming off Super Bowl. I got Cooper Kupp because because Cooper Kupp, I didn't look that hard at his stats,
I
but
actually hate that. I hate that
Yeah,
take
he
because
had
he was the wide
such a good
receiver
year.
1 before he got hurt.
But I'm just the reason why I picked it is because he was like the number 1 overall pick, 2 overall pick in our draft, and just like
And
wasn't a factor.
he was shaping up to be just that, dude. You look at he was getting like 30 points a week before he got hurt.
Their team just went to shit, and like he just was
He
hurt and
got
then
hurt.
wasn't good ever again.
He averaged 20.4 points.
Yeah.
All right, tight ends quickly, rapid fire. Jeff,
Yeah.
go.
Every tight end outside of the top 3, but probably Dalton Schultz. I feel like he was maybe candidate for a breakout year. Tight end 12, very pedestrian. Supposed to be a high-powered offense. Yeah.
Darren Waller, tight end 28, awful.
Yeah, I had Darren Waller last year, and I intentionally stayed away from that dude because he totally effed me last year, and he hasn't got it back yet. I don't know what's going on with him.
I had Darren Waller as well.
Yep.
He was on my team. I drafted him in 7th, 8th, somewhere in there. And yeah, tight ends for me this year was like literally I was just like throwing shit at a fan. It was like Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill at one point. I was trying to decide between Tyler Conklin. Like every week I was just like trying to pick someone with a matchup.
Tyler Conklin was on every team, I think, at some point because people were trying to fill a tight end hole.
Yeah.
Tyler Conklin got a lot of play in our league.
Yeah.
Never did anything.
All right, we're gonna skip the hate if you guys are okay. Player you love the most. Can we go with player you love the most? Like, who's your overall favorite fantasy football player from last year?
Sure. Austin Eckler. He was the reason my team was ever relevant. Just a stud. Scores a lot of touchdowns, catches a lot of passes.
He was really good. He's really good.
Oh, fuck, boys. Sorry. So my runner-up, which I had next to Cooper Kupp for wide receivers, was DK Metcalf.
I feel like that's
Also had
another
a pretty good year.
awful.
Yeah, your wide receiver
Yeah,
picks.
DK Metcalf had a pretty good year.
Just terrible takes.
He
He
literally
was wide receiver 17.
He picks the number 1 wide receiver before he tears his ACL and says you had a
I
bad
just
year.
don't like him. I don't like him.
That's part of the segment.
Justin Jefferson was number 1.
All right, can I give my best? Can I give my best player?
Yeah, go.
I love the most.
Go ahead.
Joseph Burrow.
Yeah,
he's cool. Although I had him first 5-6 weeks, and he it was tough. Like he was like I don't know exactly what the point breakdown was, but it was like he would score 10, and then like one week he'd score like 40, and then he would score like 15.
He was unbelievable for me.
He just had no consistency until later in the year. They just didn't get it together until late. The Bengals were like kind of.
Oh, and honorable mention Derek Carr.
Yeah, we love Derek Carr. Schwerble?
So mine, Jack Standerhand's going to like my pick. I actually remember I drafted this guy really late, Tyreek Hill. As I drafted him, Skylar says, Tua noodle arm. That's what everyone was saying was, Tua's got a noodle arm. Tyreek is going to have a bad year. You know, he's not going to perform. Tyreek blew everyone out of the water. Turns out Tua doesn't have a noodle arm. And
he does have a noodle brain, though.
He does have a noodle brain.
Mac and cheese brain.
But yeah, he was on my team.
This player is, I'm in love with him. He's a great guy. He's a thick boy. He plays for a terrible, terrible football team.
I know.
But he was just another one of these guys that I feel like just didn't get enough attention with like Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, just like all these guys that get the spotlight. Nick Chubb was all year long, like till like week 10, he was 1 or 2 every week. And then like towards the end, he kind of tapered off. Once Deshaun Watson started playing, he tapered off a little bit at the end. But Nick Chubb was so solid, so consistent all year long, and just an absolute stud. And I just feel like he didn't get enough love.
I thought you were going to say Josh Jacobs for a second there.
I got one more thing, and then I'm actually gonna leave everyone. So I love the pod, but Deshaun Watson's gonna make $55 million next year.
Disgusting.
That's
The
pretty-
one other award I had was biggest bitch award was going to be Kyle for trying to become co-champion of the league before his deemed.
Sure. Sorry, buddy. You're breaking up. But yeah, we don't have time, unfortunately, to talk about co-champion. You were worried that we weren't going to have enough time and we weren't going to be able to fight about this, and we're going to have to save it till episode 4, which I'm kind of sad about because I feel like Jeff would have some hot takes on this whole thing.
I was more excited to talk about the co-champion thing than anything at all, but I'm excited to hear whoever gets to talk about it because I respect everybody's
All right,
opinion, and I
we
think
can
we all
talk about it.
agree.
You guys got time?
Got Boned award goes to Matt Flynn. Very strong team this year, every year really, but just can't figure it out in the playoffs.
Yeah, he loses in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
Can't win.
Yeah.
Most resilient award, definitely me. I won the toilet bowl after having to start Jarrett Stidham and Sam Darnold as my 2 QBs with a Lamar injury and Derek Carr getting benched. So definitely most resilient.
Sure. Do you wanna have a monologue right now for the co-championship? Because I would like to. I had planned to rebuttal because no one knows the full story of what happened. Like, because all the texts about it were happening offline, not in the group chat.
I think we leave it at a good cliffhanger right now. I think I'm running out of time here. I think our listeners are going to be excited for something to look forward to next week. I think I have a lot of notes on this topic, and we really wouldn't do it justice if we tried to speed through it here. So,
all right, well, maybe we'll have Jeff on for part 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was great to see your guys' faces. I think this was maybe our most just on track. We were talking football the whole time.
Definitely all over the place still, though.
All right.
Yep.
All right, Jeff. Well, thank you for joining us this week.
We forgot to talk about the Tahoma 31 grass at that Super Bowl, though. I had a note for that, but maybe.
Well, you got to be better. You got to be better at reading your notes during the cast, buddy.
No, it's fine. I mean, the Tahoma 31 grass.
Fuck the whole grass thing. All right.
See
you guys.
Love everybody.
Bye bye.
The Ivy League extraordinary gentlemen. The League of Ivy extraordinary gentlemen. You're listening to what we say. We said we had to say. The Ivy League extraordinary gentlemen. The League of Ivy extraordinary gentlemen. You're listening to what we say. We said we had